Last time on Film Theory.
So there you have it. All three Jokers fit cleanly into the three Joker comic model. But then that prompts the question. Now that Jared Leto is playing the Joker in Suicide Squad, is he a whole new character, or which Joker line would he be continuing? Mobius Chair, tell me, who is Jared Leto's Joker?
Today, the thrilling conclusion.
Internet, welcome to Film Theory, with an episode that's gonna spend more time analyzing the Joker's Suicide Squad appearance than the time he actually spent on screen in the movie. Seriously, it was like, Harley, I'm coming for you in a helicopter. Never mind, see you next movie. But don't let the brevity of his appearance fool you. He's probably the most important part of the film, and definitely a whole lot more important than that hula dancing enchantress, because his connection to the three Joker theory leaves the door wide open to some huge revelations about the DC film universe and where it might be headed next. Last time we took a look at the three Joker theory, the fact that the three live-action versions of the Joker from the movies perfectly correspond to the huge reveal in DC Comics that there were three different Jokers running amok. There's the Jack Nicholson Joker from the Golden Age, the mob boss mass murderer, the Cesar Romero Joker from the Silver Age of comics, the bank heisting prankster, and the Heath Ledger Joker from the Bronze Age and Modern Age of comics, the psychopathic agent of chaos. If you haven't seen that last episode, click on this bad signal and grapple hook your way over to that video. But now we tackle the fourth and final live-action Joker, Suicide Squad's Jared Leto. How does he fit into all this? Well, it turns out that Jared Leto isn't a new Joker at all. He's just a reboot of one of the prior versions we've already seen. So the question is, which Joker is he? Will it be Joker number 1, Joker number 2, or Joker number 3? Jared Leto, your dream Joker match is the Golden Age Joker, Jack Nicholson. He's a mobster with a penchant for crushed purple velvet who will always keep you smiling. He loves long walks on the beach and dancing with the devil in the pale moonlight. But why? Well, just look at the evidence. First, they both revel in violence. The Nicholson Joker and Jared Leto both are killers who enjoy killing. We see it time and again in Tim Burton's 1989 Batman. Jack Nicholson gleefully incinerating people with electrified hand buzzers, dancing around while shooting former partners, stabbing political figures in public with pens, while Bruce Wayne wanders around the crime scene like an idiot. Now look at Suicide Squad, where the Joker is frequently wielding a machine gun, gleefully spraying gunfire everywhere. Throughout the movie, we also see him repeatedly play mind games with other criminals before either killing them or having them killed. This means that we can solidly rule out the Cesar Romero Joker because he was from the Silver Age when violence and gore were all but whitewashed out of comics. He was just the kooky, crazy prankster who used wacky props to rob banks. Writers of the Silver Age comics specifically wanted the Joker to be more creative, resourceful with his weaponry, never resorting to traditional guns and knives. And now look at Suicide Squad's iconic knife arrangement scene. Not only does it reveal Joker's OCD tendencies and introduce the world to the verbal equivalent of the slow clap. Ha, ha, ha. Seriously, that laugh is a slow clap. But it reveals that Leto's Joker ain't showing the same ingenuity with his armory. Guns, knives, more knives. Caesar is out. Seeing all you guys were worried they had spoiled this video with the thumbnail from last time. I pay attention to this stuff. But then what about Heath Ledger's Bronze Age Joker? Well, just think back to The Dark Knight. Ledger's Joker is a loner, insane, out of control, answering to no one. He appears and disappears randomly, surprising and often turning on the gangs who hired him. This clearly doesn't match up with the Jared Leto Joker. I mean, seriously, Suicide Squad's Joker is like the Kanye West of Gotham, a social butterfly that traded in his Shutter sunglasses for a blinged out grill. I mean, the guy hangs out in clubs with his entourage. For crying out loud, he has a girlfriend who, it's worth mentioning, we see him risk his life several times to save. He's surrounded by henchmen who act less like cronies and more like bronies. Or, I guess, just like bros, really. It's the first time that we ever see the Joker with a social circle. Or is it? Turns out the Jack Nicholson Joker matches Jared Leto when it comes to this little posse of his. Just like Leto, Jack is a crime boss with an army of disposable henchmen at his, disposal. In fact, both are mob bosses who rule over organized crime in Gotham. They mobilize huge efforts to do things like attack art museums or break into maximum security prisons. And the important part about all of this is that these activities have literally nothing to do with Batman. In fact, Batman's only role there is to get in the way of everything. For Heath Ledger's Joker, his goals only ever revolve around Batman. It goes back to what we talked about last episode. The Bronze Age Joker is totally dependent on Batman. The yin to his yang, the sunny to his share, the third pairing that should be funny and isn't coming to mind right now. But the Golden Age Joker's doesn't. He has crimes and schemes planned, and Batman is only a roadblock to completing those. So, there you have it. Jared Leto's Joker is a reinvention of the Golden Age OG Joker of the comics, the grinning Jack Nicholson-esque mobster. And it's been softly confirmed by Suicide Squad's director that he went into the Golden Age origins of the character when deciding how the Joker would fit into this new movie's world. But so what? I hear you saying. Why'd you force me to wait on a cliffhanger just for this? Excellent question, Strawman commenter. Your patience will be well worth it, because knowing how Leto fits in with the three Joker theory has some wild implications about the DCU. You see, one of the major ways DC's comic universe differs from that of Marvel's is its emphasis on parallel worlds. The concept allowed writers the creative freedom to explore alternative versions of characters and their histories without contradicting the established continuity of the main universe. The modern version of this dates back to 1961, when the writers of The Flash were trying to figure out a way for Golden Age versions of characters to appear in stories alongside their Silver Age counterparts. Thus began a story titled Flash of Two Worlds, in which Barry Allen, the modern Flash, travels to another Earth, accidentally vibrating at the right speed to appear on another planet, where he meets Jay Garrick, that parallel Earth's version of the Flash. TLDL, too long didn't listen, they created parallel Earths to try and explain away the overcomplicated stories. Because using physical cosmology hypotheses is always gonna make things simpler, am I right? Yeah, who's with me? Don't leave me hanging. High five your screen right now, please. Please don't leave me hanging. I have a perpetual fear of being left hanging. Please high five your screen right now. Whew, thank you. Anyway, the number and canonicity of these alternate universes have varied over the years due to DC's policy of using or abandoning the concept at various points in its history, with the number of Earths going anywhere between 52 to infinity and beyond. Earth 1 is most famous for being inhabited by the Silver Age heroes. Earth 2's claim to fame is being the universe where Quebec is an independent nation from Canada. Oh, and it's also home to the Golden Age version of these characters. And then that would leave Earth 3 as the home to the Bronze Age characters, right? Ha, yeah. I wish. That would have made this episode a whole lot easier to write. Nope, Earth 3 is backwards history Earth, a world where Christopher Columbus discovered Europe instead of America, and where morality is reversed, showcasing evil versions of all your favorite heroes. And no, I'm not making any of this up. It's basically the DC equivalent of fan fiction Earth. If you're looking for the Bronze Age heroes, they're scattered around the various multiverse timelines. But since we're specifically talking about Batman, everyone's favorite grizzled rodent-themed detective from The Dark Knight Returns can be found on Earth 31, obviously. Why wouldn't you think to look there? Well, sorry, he was on Earth 31 until a reworking of the universes made Earth 31 home to the pirate versions of these characters. You think I'm joking, but I swear it is all real. So that's a very general overview of how DC's comics work, but what's it got to do with the Joker? Well, DC hasn't been content with just leaving the parallel universe concept solely to the pages of the comics. From the very first episode of the Flash TV series, the creators have been hinting at the existence of the DC multiverse.
A dimensional barrier ruptured, unleashing unknown energies into our world. Antimatter, dark energy, X elements.
Those are all theoretical.
Yes, blobbity physics gibberish particles. Eureka, we've gotten it. But then later that same episode, a newspaper mentions a crisis and red skies. Both of these are references to DC's Crisis comics. Perhaps most famously, Crisis on Infinite Earths, which are always these massive events spanning all of the main franchises where the parallel Earths, pirate worlds included, cross over to solve some cataclysmic threat. If DC is building to a franchise crossover on a scale larger than Justice League, this would likely be the type of story they'd try to tackle. And it seems like they're interested. Since that first episode, The Flash has built much more of its main plot around multiverses, including a visit to Earth 2. Season 2, episode 13 of The Flash was a hub of crossovers, confirming a shared canon with both the Supergirl TV show and another DC TV franchise, Legends of Tomorrow. Now, during the last video, I brought up DC creative chief Jeff Johns and how he was a key player in the cinematic universe, as well as the 3 Joker reveal. Now, in an interview with BuzzFeed, he's also mentioned the magic M word, multiverse. Quote, well, Arrow and Flash are the same universe, and we get a lot of great story out of that, especially when we have episodes that cross them over, but that's also where our superhero universe lives. We look at it as the multiverse. We have our TV universe and our film universe, but they all coexist. So clearly, the groundwork for a DC multiverse exists and is on their mind, but then we have Darkseid. As hinted at as one of Batman's fever dreams in Batman v Superman, the heroes will soon be forced to fight against a villain whose signature is the Omega symbol, one of the biggest baddies of DC Comics and the main antagonist to the Justice League, Darkseid. So very clearly we know that this guy's coming, but based on the comics, we also know that he's a villain who just so happens to cross multiverses quite frequently, and has been known to kill off some major players on some of these versions of Earth. So, what does it all mean? Well, let's look at the 3 Joker theory one last time. We have a Golden Age Joker in Suicide Squad, and a Bronze Age Joker in The Dark Knight. We have an old Batman unafraid to murder in recent DC movies, and also one who is significantly less murdery in the Dark Knight trilogy. We have a comics franchise known for crossing over its multiverses, and a movie division fighting against the juggernaut of Marvel, falling victim time and again to negative reviews. So considering all of this, there's one trump card on the table for DC that does everything they need it to do. It differentiates them from Marvel, provides huge fan service, has the potential to reset all their missteps with movie lore, delivers a massive box office, and all while still adhering to their comic roots, creating a parallel universe crossover, a crisis event. That's right, a Christian Bale, Ben Affleck, Batman team to fight the combined powers of the mob boss Jared Leto Joker and the unhinged chaos bringer of the Bronze Age Heath Ledger equivalent. Sure, Marvel has its Avengers, it's just the Justice League with different faces, but an inter-series crossover where multiple generations of actors who played the same character team up, it's the one thing DC has that Marvel doesn't. Golden Age crossing over with Bronze Age, crossing over with Silver Age for that matter. Who wouldn't love to see Christopher Reeve, film's most iconic Superman, reminisce with the Man of Steel over their parallel universe Marthas? Everyone loves talking about their mothers so much, and I get goosebumps just thinking about a lineup of Batman doing a slow-motion hero walk. Keaton, Clooney, Kilmer, Affleck, Bale, West. Heck, throw in the kid from Gotham and Lego Batman. He's got a movie coming up too. Who wouldn't want to see that? It's like those episodes of Power Rangers where all the past seasons get together to do one massive battle, except with Batman and versions of the Joker. Heck, while you're at it, throw in Superman teaming up with Pirate Superman to fight evil Superman. Long story short, the table is set for an intra-character crossover. Flashes with Flashes, Batman with Batman. And at a time when DC's movies are undergoing a bit of a crisis might just be the thing that they need to solve all of their problems. Thank the 3 Jokers for that one. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. Speaking of epic crossovers, check out my dear friends over at the Wisecrack channel, who just did a video about Batman v Superman that got me to look at the whole movie in a completely new light. I mean, have you ever stopped to consider that the movie is commenting on the similarities between Lex Luthor and Batman? Yeah, I didn't either, but their video does an amazing job making it seem like this movie had a lot more meaning behind it than it actually does. I mean, it's still a convoluted mess, but it's almost like they intended it to have a deeper message, one that the Wisecrack team will make you truly appreciate. So make sure that you Superman slap that button right there and tell them that MatPat sent ya. Proves that I have value in life. But in all seriousness, guys, if you enjoyed this channel, then please check out Wisecrack. They're one of the few channels on YouTube that really do an amazing job of finding the balance between educational content, but also videos that are funny and enjoyable to watch. They specialize in videos with a purpose, deeper meaning, all while being entertained. And what more can you ask for? This is the information age, so anything that makes the information easier to swallow is definitely worth your time. So please, you owe it to yourself to carve off 5 minutes of your time and check them out. Odds are you're not going to be disappointed. Or if you want more theories about The Dark Knight, check out this video where we calculate how Batman fails Gotham simply by kissing Catwoman at the end of The Dark Knight Rises. Based on the calculations, if he hadn't slipped her the tongue, thousands of lives would have been saved. But more on that over there. Now if you'll excuse me, I have to roll out.